I'm often amazed how Google, I often joke with people, knows everything. Whenever I have a question, I ask Google. And once in a while, just for entertainment value, I'll put in my own name in quotes and I'll Google it and see what Google thinks is important. It's really interesting if you hit the images and see what images Google thinks is important that's related to you. I recently changed my headshot, decided to upgrade it a little bit from my headshot from 20 years ago to a more current one. I also posted on Twitter a picture of me working at home, as well as a cartoon honoring the first responders that I thought was pretty appropriate in the day and age of COVID. But as you scroll down, it's sort of like walking through a history of your life. I see, even though I'm not in these pictures, I'm now on the boards, these charitable boards, and I said, oh gee, that's who these people are, why they're associated with me. I guess what gets me is a lot of friends and family that somehow have an association with me, but the things I did in the 90s are still here. 4 actions of how to run a semiconductor supply chain, an article that I wrote back then, which is still applicable today. And I guess I'm glad I didn't do anything too embarrassing over the years. That is still there. A lot of 9/11 references, and this sometimes is a little disturbing. You know, many of you who know me knew I was flying that day, and I decided to change my flight because I was having so much fun taking my daughter to school. And every so often I see an article about who are the 350 passengers that changed their flight that day, and I'm one of them. They do tell my story accurately, that I changed my flight because I was having so much fun taking my daughter to school. I've seen some of these posts who have researched me, and this is where it gets scary, that they've figured out that I used to sell semiconductors to the military and I'm part of some diabolical plot with George Bush and planned 9/11. So it is kind of interesting. You see stuff like that, and it really gives fake news a whole new view. I posted a little story of our 14-year-old dog and his rejuvenation in life, as well as other ancient history from when I was at Brooklyn Polytech. And then floating through memory lane, I saw my involvement with the LED solid-state lighting industry and some quotes. I had Electronic Design News did an article on executives who had been flying that day, and my story was told there, which is how I guess it gets picked up elsewhere. But even things coming back to the 80s. In 1980, this was the hottest PDAs before cell phones were really predominant. The HP 200LX, HP 900, 995LX. I did a letter to the editor talking about a way I've discovered how to do some multitasking on it, which was kind of big back in the day. Interesting HP big announcement in this edition on adding 1 megabit of RAM, right? I mean, that's like nothing today. So I guess a lesson to the young people, be careful what you do in life, especially when the cameras are running, because this stuff really stays around forever. You may wonder what this is. My grand cousin, so it's kind of a grandfather cousin, was an anesthesiologist that invented an airway for anesthesiologists. To this day, it's called the Robert Tassi Airway. You could buy them on Amazon for about $5 a piece. So it just goes to show you, good and bad, today, nothing is ever forgotten on the internet.